Good morning, Warzone kids. Man, it is a snowy morning on the trail here in Vermont, but it's warm. It's 28 degrees. Roads are snowy. Air is snowy. The ground is snowy. And that's all right. We can't walk out fast, but we can get in today's miles. That's all we can ever do. If you're a Warzone kid like me, I'm a child sex abuse survivor. As an adult, I live with borderline personality disorder. I'm a recovering bulimic addict. And my term Warzone kids, I just use that to mean those of us who grew up in an environment more like a hostile, low-grade guerrilla war than a supportive nursery. That could be sex abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. Could be societal abuse. We're the wrong kind of human at the wrong place and time. Whatever it is, if you're a Warzone kid, you probably recognize the term. And I was thinking about this abstract German expressionistic lighting I got going on, because it's dark early in the morning. But then again, as a guy that lives with borderline personality disorder, this lighting where half my face is lighter and the other half is darker, that fits right in with my personality. Just tells you a little bit about what to expect, I guess. All's fair. Last time I talked to you, I was talking about the scree slopes, what it's like when you start on the path to learning and becoming who you are, your own pilgrimage to the Western land, the place of peace and wholeness, healing, rebuilding your Jenga tower, whatever you want to call it. I use the metaphor about scree. That's what we got a lot of here in Vermont, which is like a rocky hillside that's covered in loose stones and pebbles that slips and slides under your feet. Well, you can use snow and ice just the same. If you know you're running or walking on snow and ice, you're a lot less liable to fall down and bust your head. If you think it's all solid concrete or solid asphalt and it turns out to be black ice, that's when you're going to have trouble. Same way as we go through life, one of the really common, it's really common, I don't know if it's universal, but I'm a volunteer circle keeper with an organization called Hidden Water Circle, and they facilitate healing circles by and for those affected by child sex abuse. And it's certainly a phenomenon that I've noticed, and I see it in a lot of my fellow Warzone kids, that when you grow up, especially with childhood sex abuse, but if you grow up in an environment where you were caused a lot of psychological, physical, or emotional harm from your parents, you're probably very familiar with the way that, like, you had a reality that was your life that you kind of learned to bury down deep because you had to go along with this masquerade. You had to go along with this kind of permanent costume party where everyone was pretending things were different than they were. And it can seem like the adults around you were doing it on purpose. Like, they have to know that what they're doing is not okay, but then they go to church, then you see, you're around other people and they act all different. Part of that's just being a human being. But consider that at least my experience of that is I really do not think that any of that or much of it was intentional. Or I let go of the idea that it was intentional abuse and that they were intentionally living in a dream world where they said, all right, we're going to act one way at home and then we're going to act different when we're around other people. I can't read anyone's mind and not know anything about your experience. There are plenty of people that had consciously malicious parents or caregivers or were consciously maliciously abused by people. I understand that. For myself, my situation, this guy, I find that it's more helpful when I think of it in terms of just they caused me harm. And whatever it means for them, they caused me harm. And I feel that for a lot of people, they might relate to the idea that you come to realize that those people that caused you that harm, they were living in a dream world themselves. And they couldn't really stomach contact with the raw cosmos very much. Like looking into the sun, it hurts your eyes, especially when you know you've caused a lot of harm to other people. That just makes it harder to look at the sun. But that's just a metaphor. Looking at the sun is like looking at the cosmos, except it doesn't hurt your eyes. It doesn't hurt your psyche. It's good for your psyche to look directly at the sun, to look directly at the cosmos. Very bad for your psyche to look away, to look at your dreamland instead of looking at the sun of your real experience in the here and now. The real cosmos where we live. That's the sun. And it's good for your psyche to stare directly at the sun and never look away. We just come out of the holidays, and if you're a Warzone kid like me, you probably have some real vexed thoughts and feelings about them holidays. I know I do. I've got kids of my own. There's things I love about the holidays, about Christmas and New Year, Thanksgiving, and any of them. But man, do I notice that inside of me, the tension level is sky high. Often, I'm not even consciously aware of my level of tension and agitation. I learned not to feel that thing, not to feel those. When I was a child, my patron saint was Spock. And I modeled myself after him, and I did everything I could to cram my emotions down, not feel them. And I was very successful about that. So even as an adult, like right now, the main way that I know I'm real stressed out is I kind of look down and I got a jar of peanut butter in my hand and a spoon and or a package of Oreos. Then I know that I'm upset. If you'd ask me how I was feeling, I'd say, oh, I'm fine. It's all fine. Having a good day. I love Christmas. And I do. There's a lot of things I get warm feelings about it. Love getting surprises for my kids. Love watching them open them. Love being with them. And then at some point, later in the evening on Christmas, I would look down and I'm going to have a jar of peanut butter in my hand. Or I'm going to be looking to open that package of Oreos. Or if I'm real worked up about it, I might start thinking to myself, you know what? I know I'm an addict, but you know what's nice on Christmas? Some champagne would be nice. I'll go get some legit champagne. That's a nice celebration. No, that's a sign that I'm real worked up. And happily for me and everyone around me, I mostly notice that these days. And I can't remember last time I had champagne. I can definitely remember last time I had Oreos and peanut butter. But I don't eat the whole jar and the whole bag every time. And I don't really binge on it. But that's how I know I'm having vexed feelings. And what I want to say to you is, why shouldn't I have vexed feelings? I know what my Christmases were like. I know the level of pressure that was put on me. I know. I was there. Believe me, I remember. I can press the play button on the interior monologue of my mind and relive the years 1974 to about 1992, inclusive, word for word, minute by minute, if I so choose. Why wouldn't I be vexed about it? Why wouldn't I have vexed feelings about the holidays? Those were occasions when I knew how I was really feeling about things and the level of pressure I felt to play the role I was supposed to play during the holidays. And then I knew how everyone else talked about the holidays and how everyone else talks about them now. The holidays you see in movies, the holidays you see in ads. Well, I embrace what my real feelings are. And on Christmas Day, I expect to have tension that night. I expect to be hoping that Santa Claus brung me an endless vat of peanut butter, or an Oreo tree, or a champagne fountain, because I'm worked up by the end of the day. That's all right. Why shouldn't I be worked up? I don't have to live in that worked upness. I don't have to live in that agitation. I can sit on my cushion and stare at the wall. Am I agitated? I'm agitated. It's just fine. There's no reason I should be some other way since I'm not. So I just give you permission. Not that I'm in a position to do that, but I'll put it a different way. It's okay for you to feel however you felt about these holidays that just went by. It's okay. Whatever they're like for you, stare into the sun and don't look away. That's what they're really like. And if you're vexed, and if you got half of your brain that wants to love Christmas and half of it that hates it, that's okay. What I can tell you is that there's a lot of freedom for you. There's a lot of freedom for me in abandoning the idea that there's some certain way I should feel. That removes a big chunk of the vexedness. There's no certain way I should feel about the holidays. There's not. There's no certain way I should feel about Christmas and New Year's Day. However it is I do feel, that's how I feel. That's okay. I don't have to like It's a Wonderful Life. I think it's a terrible movie. It makes me feel sadder than I can put words to. Planes, trains, and automobiles is more my speed. I can kind of relate to that. So embrace it. Whatever your feelings were this holiday, whatever your experience was, if you felt knotted up, headed to that house, waiting for those people to show up, if you felt torn in about 6 different directions, that's okay. That's okay. No reason you shouldn't. Embrace it. Stare into the sun. You don't have to look away. You don't want the sun of the cosmos to be eclipsed by the dream world that the people around you live in. It's okay. It's okay, Pilgrim. You're okay. Just however you are. However the holidays are like for you, that's okay. Lighten your load. I talk about things I put in my rucksack. Take some things out of your rucksack, Pilgrim. These ideas you have about how you should feel, and how if you were a good person, you'd get over it, and how if you were a good person, you'd like Christmas, things like that. Whatever those, if you can relate to anything like that for you, whatever that is, you don't need that in your rucksack. It ain't doing you nothing but slowing you down. You don't need extra weights in your rucksack when you're walking on the ski slopes or when you're walking on slippery snow and ice. A heavy rucksack can just mess up your center of gravity. You don't need your center of gravity raised, make it easier for you to fall down. You want to keep both feet on the ground. Stay nice and solid on that slippery ice while you're staring into the sun. You won't go snowblind. Snowblind is what you get from living in a dream world, when you can't even see the real world around you. It's all dark because you spent too much time in your life being forced as a child to live in a dreamland to prop up what other people thought about themselves. It's okay. It's okay. Stare into the sun of the cosmos in your real experience, and your eyes will stay sharp. Keep your feet on the ground. Empty out whatever you don't need out of that rucksack. And we can get in all of today's miles, Pilgrim, and we can do it without slipping and sliding too much. And when we do slip and slide, that's okay. The ground's icy and snowy. Why shouldn't you slip and slide? That's what you do. But you do it a lot less when you know what the reality is. It's a beautiful, snowy day on the trail, Pilgrim. Daylight's burning. Let's get a move on.